I'm going to talk to you a little bit today. I'm going to have a really hard time standing behind this, as you guys know from yesterday. I'm kind of all over the place. But about Upshot, as Mary said, we're a marketing agency. I'm going to tell you a little bit about that, tell you a little bit about our people, who we are, because as I was talking about yesterday, I think great design is about great people, and our culture and our agency is about people, and a little bit about our process and how that leads to the design that we do, and sort of our point of view on design. Welcome to Upshot. We actually just moved into this great space last year that we actually designed it as an agency. So this is actually, you'll see some of the shots in here as we go through this. We are a marketing agency. We are not an ad agency. We're not an online agency. We're not a promotion agency. We call ourselves a marketing agency, and that's kind of unique. We were actually one of the first. We love to say that because about 10 years ago, people started talking about all this other stuff outside of advertising that you see on TV, and as advertising started to diminish and the effect of it diminished, and people weren't, the impact you can make on TV really diminished, people started looking at other ways to reach people, online, events, all those other things outside of what you see on TV. And we really grabbed a hold of that idea and said, let's be a true marketing agency, somebody who takes an idea and figures out what's the best way to bring that to life, not necessarily just a TV idea that comes to life. And there's actually another great shot of our space. We're headquartered in Chicago. I wanted to show you this space just because this is actually our library. And one of the things, as we talked about yesterday, we believe in learning. We're a culture of learning. We actually have hundreds of publications, hundreds of books in our library, because we believe that if you're not a smart designer, you're not a good designer. You need to be knowing what's going on in trends, what's happening in fashion, what's happening in interior design, what's happening in business. So actually, this is one of our librarians. We have librarians on our staff, and that is their goal, to provide information to us, send us information, send us trends. They're constantly monitoring trends, because I think being smart makes us better designers, helps us stay connected to our consumers, stay connected to the challenges that we're actually facing. We're a pretty small agency. We're 160 people. We're not a big mammoth agency. We're kind of what we kind of like to see, kind of a boutique agency. We always think we're like a challenger agency. We're not the big, giant Leo Burnett's of the world that come in with their billion-dollar budgets. We're a little bit smaller, and we like that. We think it makes us nimble. It makes us quick. It makes us different. Our people are composed of creatives. Our creatives come from their writers, their graphic designers, their interior designers, their product designers, their new media designers. And then we also have our account people who run the businesses, and we have a whole production team. And then we also have a consumer planning part of that, which, as we talked with the students yesterday, they really help us in the learning process as well. They do all the learning with consumers, because we really believe that it's the consumer that really is who we have to be speaking to. So that's, kind of, as you think about the composition of the agency, the creatives are actually probably a quarter of all the people that really deliver on the creative product. And this is actually just another space in our agency, and I like to show this. This is our gallery, because we believe that, again, about learning and being people who are exposed to things. Most of our creatives, and we encourage it, are fine artists as well. We want them to be painters. We want them to have stuff in gallery. We actually have a show once a year in our space where we say, bring your best work. We judge it. We have, and we have a lot of them are in bands. A lot of them are DJs. We have this stage. They put on concerts for the agency. So really that they can express themselves not only in traditional design, but in the other creative things that they like. And here we're actually drinking some fun beer, because we have a beer client, so we get to actually have beer in the agency anytime after 4, so it's kind of fun. So what do we do? I said a little bit that we're a marketing agency. We are a fully integrated marketing agency, and this is our philosophy. Simple ideas, brilliantly activated. Again, it's not a TV. We don't go, what are we going to do for TV? What are we going to do online? We think, what's the idea? Again, understanding the consumer, understanding the brand, what are we going to do, and then how are we going to activate that in lots of different ways. And we kind of have 4 major areas where we do that through brand marketing, promotions, so retail marketing, regional marketing, but all those tactics can be within that. So that's really sort of a philosophy and how we think about design. Our culture, as I said, is what makes us who we are, what makes I think our design great. It's our people and our designers. Upshot is a collective of courageous individuals passionate about ideas who strive to challenge conventional thinking and redefine the possible. courageous individuals. We don't like people without a point of view, and I mentioned that yesterday. We want our designers to have a point of view and be courageous and challenge us, not only challenge within the agency, but challenge conventional thinking. I think that's one of the biggest struggles as an agency and as the designers, and designers could definitely acknowledge this. It's like your clients always want to do what they've always wanted to do. They're like, let's just do what we did last year, or no, that's too hard, or no, that's gonna make our consumer uncomfortable. We need to challenge that because we need to be able to break through and redefine what kind of really is what's possible with design, what's possible with marketing. And how do we do that? These are sort of our tenets, and I think it describes our people, but it also, I think, ultimately describes our work. Explore new thinking, act on curiosity, perpetuate different points of view. Like I said, we have people from different backgrounds. We have people from advertising. We have people who are writers who didn't even study writing. They just started writing. They were writing a book at home, and they were such a phenomenal writer that we hired them, again, to get a different point of view and a different perspective. Be a resource. We always help each other out. Balance gut and intellect, and we were talking about that earlier. It's that great balance of, yeah, we can overthink things, but there's that gut when you just know it's right. Challenge conventional wisdom, never give up. I think sometimes it could be so frustrating as a designer, and your client's like, no, that's really not what I had in mind. How do you not give up, and how do you come back with an idea? And keeping a sense of humor, that's a big part of it. We love to have fun at Upshot, I think and celebrate ideas. I think that really is, if we can say anything, we always want to celebrate a great idea. I just want to take you through one project today, just to kind of show you a little bit of maybe how we think. And this is actually part of the project that's featured here, but it might give you a little bit more perspective on that project. This is a project. This is a project for Procter & Gamble. Procter & Gamble, we do a lot of work with consumer package companies such as Kraft, Procter & Gamble, Unilever, and then we also do other work for Disney and Corona and Miller Lite. It's a lot about products, a lot about what they call themselves as consumer packaged goods, which is such a glamorous, kind of boring thing. But this is for P&G, who makes a lot of the beauty products that you would see in a drugstore or grocery store. Pantenes of the world, the herbal essences, the Olays, the Crest White Strips, the Clairol hair color, Perfect 10. They make so many of those beauty products that you would see in a store. But the challenge is, as we talked yesterday, is consumers' expectations of design are raising because of Target and all these great things we've talked about, how design is so important in culture today. And P&G spent lots of money on their packaging. If you see the Olay packaging, and it's beautiful, and the new Pantene packaging that's coming out is gorgeous. But these products sit in these drugstores like CVS and Walgreens, which are just horrible. If you go to great retail, like go to a specialty store, go to the mall and go to an Abercrombie where it's fun to shop, or go all these great places, and then you go to stores like, where these products exist, it's so depressing. And it's not a very fun place to shop as you think about elevating beauty and elevating design. So their challenge was, how do we transform, how do we create something that really transforms these products and engages this consumer, which they call the kind of the look-conscious experimenter. And she's that person who loves to try products. She'll go to a Sephora, she'll go to a Nordstrom Beauty, she'll go to all these really inspiring beauty salons and places, but she also wants to buy these products, like at the drugstore, but she doesn't find them very inspiring there. She can't try them. They just under fluorescent lights, and they just don't look very exciting. So all this great work of branding these products, creating beautiful packaging for them, just falls flat in her eyes as this person who really wants to explore beauty. And so what we really came up to was this insight. Oh, also, as she thinks about beauty, she doesn't necessarily think about, this person's not the kind of person who's like, beauty is like, a complete runway makeover. She's not extreme transformation, like, oh wow, I'm this and I'm an ugly duck, and now look at me, I'm gorgeous. When we talked to this woman, she was like, it's just those little things. It's like when I discover the right shade of lipstick, and I go, oh, that's perfect. Or when I get that certain curl technique. I don't really know a lot about this, but this is what they said. But when I curl my hair just right, and you're like, you feel so confident and you feel so good. It's not, oh my gosh, I look different than I did yesterday. And I'm sure all the girls in the audience are like, yes, it is. It's those little, and we talked about it was kind of those aha moments. But we couldn't actually say aha moments because Oprah actually has that copyrighted because she talked about aha moments. So I can't really say that here today, but we talked about those moments where you're like, that's it, that's right, that's right. So that was really kind of the insight that kind of drove this idea. And the idea that came out of this was this idea of beauty revealed, you inspired. When you find something that's beautiful, it's revealed to you or just inspired. You feel better that day. It's those little moments. And like I said, once we have an idea, this is sort of how we represent, like that idea then becomes all these different things. And these are all the different ways we brought that idea to life. Through, we're going to show you this pop-up retail idea. We did some branded content where we actually partnered with a news show and created some content on the show. We had celebrity endorsements. We did print, we did outdoor, we did public relations, we did sampling, we did a TV commercial. All these things that took that idea and made it full circle and integrated. And I'm just going to show you parts of it today and some of the things that I think is actually a little bit more the innovative piece. And that is, again, as we think about how do you break through, if you think about these products living in a drugstore, you've got to change the context to where these products exist. This is, and if you're not familiar with this, it's actually an area of marketing that we've sort of pioneered with a few other agencies, this idea of pop-up retail. It's temporary retail. So this was actually an old Chanel store in Toronto that had closed. And this is happening a lot where brands who want to do similar things, they want to get their products out of their icky environment and temporarily put them in an environment that people are like, wow, I'd never thought about it this way. So this was actually a store that we completely designed with our interior design team, our graphic design team, our writers, all of our strategists to really bring these brands to life in a totally different way. And it's a street front thing. So the whole idea was to get people to walk by and walk in and want to explore this. It was completely free. It lasted for about a month. And the whole point of this is this, as you'll see more pictures of this cost maybe $200,000 to build out. This was really like a set. Like everything was like plywood, that was stretched fabric, that overhead. Everything, the cushions were really, really cheap. Just to give you perspective, to do a TV commercial starts at $500,000. So this is no investment at all. And it's where brands are going, I don't need to spend millions of dollars on TV because it really doesn't impact people. But if you can get somebody to experience your brands in a space and in an environment, and it's worth the money, even if you tear it down in a few weeks. But this actually was so modular and so much like a set. This actually pulled out of this space and then went to a couple other cities in Toronto and set up. So it really became this traveling kind of retail space. But here you can see as you kind of walk in, again, we wanted to completely change her perspective of the grocery store or the department store where she might buy her Olay or CoverGirl or whatever. And our first thought was, what if it was a lounge? What if you turned it into a beauty lounge? I mean, that would just, because we didn't want her to even associate these brands with all the other baggage that she has with these in those stores. So that was the idea. Let's create a lounge, something where she can feel like she could experiment to that whole idea of, oh, I could try some lipstick, and my friends could go with me, and it'd be really fun, and it wouldn't feel like people are staring at me, and people could give me advice, and it would just feel like a playground. And that's really where the inspiration from this came from, with the moody colors, with the pop to the bright. And this first one, it was kind of like a series of bars. We're like, have her kind of get up to a bar. I mean, bars are kind of fun where we share. So this first one was like the essentials bar, where she learned about skincare and she learned about like her body washes, and these were staffed, and these places were just packed with people. We created a video wall on one side of it. It just was showing some of the brand commercials. And again, you can see this is probably not at all what you would expect these brands to be bringing to life. We created this color lounge where all the color products, so she could be talked about like lip color, her hair color, all these things, like what's a great color for you? And there are counselors there that helped her think about how this came to life. And again, really, really cheap materials and finishes, but it really gave this amazing kind of elevated design experience. There was one, a skin boutique with simple sheers and some lighting and other kind of materials that really bring the Olay brand to life in a really completely different way. Just even having fun with some of the copy in the space to really change her perception on this brand and place it in an entirely different environment. This was actually part of the environment in the back, which was where you could get your hair styled, you could get your hair colored and cut. Again, this was all free, all complimentary, brought to you by these brands, and this idea of look fab and look fab moments was really what we called this. It's those moments again that you kind of, and you feel like, wow, I feel great and I look great. And also, as part of this space, because it was meant to be sort of self-exploratory, similar to like some of the museum work that was talked about earlier, we actually had a collateral piece that actually helped her kind of walk through this. She could take notes. When she found a color she liked, she could circle it in the book. She could like make notes that the beauty consultants kind of helped her out. So she left there feeling like she was so inspired and so motivated, and really continuing to bring this design and this idea of look fab moments, sort of experience yours and find yours in this space. And then we brought it to life then virtually online, because these only showed up in 3 cities. So we did a series, or we also created a virtual studio, virtual online, where they could try on things, virtually try things, do some selection tools. But again, elevating the whole design of all these brands and sort of bringing them all together in one place in a really unique way. And this actually comes to life, as you'll see in the, you'll see we also did some TV that supported this, because even though TV costs a lot of money, everyone kind of expects there to be TV. But the piece that is actually in the other room is called transformation. And when we thought about that, and it's the first thing you see when you walk, you see transformation. And sometimes, and we like the parallels, we thought about this, of an idea and the transformation of beauty. Like transformation, you always see the end result sometimes, and you forget, and even in beauty or in an idea, and you forget all the work that goes into it. It's all those little moments and all those little discoveries and those ideas. And that's really what we tried to bring to life in the other room. Was it's just a visual representation of how does the transformation of an idea come to life, and we actually use this sort of parallel case study to sort of bring that to life. So that's what you'll actually see some of the other work from this in the other room. That's it.